Hi, my name's Eden. I run a Pilates studio on the Gold Coast in Australia called Pilates Central. I just thought I'd kick off this video series answering a pretty fundamental question really, which is, what is Pilates? And I thought the best way to do that was to cover 5 main areas that Pilates addresses very well. First and foremost though, Pilates is a form of full body conditioning which we tailor to the individual's personal needs. So some people do mat Pilates and others do big group classes, but the way we do it is tailored to our needs, and that's the way Joe Pilates did it himself. So it was always very individualized, and indeed Uncle Joe, as a lot of people call him, especially if they worked with him, he would sometimes make up an exercise on the spot just for that person. So we endeavour to keep that alive in how we instruct, and this helps us bring our accumulated knowledge to the fore so that we can really help people get fit, healthy, toned and pain-free. So there are essentially 5 elements that I wanted to talk about today that Pilates, like I said, does very well. First of all, we look for flexibility, resistance training. We look at alignment very, very strongly in any exercise we're doing. Then of course there's core strengthening and stability, and then there's the mindful element of movement. So it's a mindful movement practice first and foremost as well. So as flexibility, you can be too flexible. It can be dangerous to be too flexible, and then you've got to rein it in and build some strength through those ranges of motion. So with flexibility, that's exactly what we want to do. We want to be flexible because that allows us to move freely and easily, but you want to be able to exert strength at that full range of flexibility as well. So if you can do the splits, that's wonderful, and that's quite desirable actually, but if you're going to do the splits, you want to have a degree of muscle control too, because that helps protect not just the muscles, but also the tendons, ligaments, the joints, and all those delicate structures in the joints that tend to become more damaged as we age. You know, the muscles can lose strength as we age, but really it's the joints that suffer from the aging process, so we want to really look after those and protect them well. Next element we want to talk about is resistance training. Pilates is resistance training. We use weights for resistance, we use springs for resistance, we use body weight for resistance, we even use the body itself as a resistance for other parts of the body. We use reformer Pilates. We've got wonder chairs, we've got a Cadillac or a trapeze table, we've got all sorts of little bits of apparatus that we use both to help us do a movement that is quite challenging, or to provide resistance to a movement that is too easy, like a bicep curl, and then add resistance to that to strengthen the muscle, strengthen the bones, stabilize the joints. It's so again, this provides a nice, beautiful, resilient body that's fit and toned. Then alignment. We always want to have a good alignment in whatever movement we're doing. 1, this allows us to have safe movement that is health promoting. 2, it allows us to actually start to rehab muscles and joints and ligaments and tendons and the whole spinal structure. And with that, we're working smarter, not harder. A good example of alignment we can all relate to is good posture. When you see someone with good posture, they move with grace and elegance and efficiency, and it's our innate knowledge recognises in that person that if they're well put together, they're healthy and well. And there have even been studies that show that if people with good posture, the same person with good posture is looked on as being more attractive. It's as good for us all. But what it also means is that we work pain-free, and ultimately, what's the point in doing anything if it's going to contribute more to your dysfunction and unhappiness? You want to be working pain-free so that you can enjoy the rest of life. And then we've got core stability. I think core stability is one of those terms that people all seem to have an idea about, but is readily misunderstood. For me, core stability is not just these little abdominals in the front, especially not just those six-pack abs, but they're the muscles that work on the axial skeleton. And essentially, the axial skeleton is your pelvis, your spine, your rib cage, and your skull. And all those muscles, those fine muscles that control those small movements, and indeed your posture as well, are what I would call core muscles. And if they are strong and healthy, then you are literally centered. You have a physical center that is strong, resilient, and can make sure that everything you do with zest and vitality, which are two words that Joe Pilates himself loved. And who doesn't want to have zest and vitality in their life? It's a beautiful way to live. And then overarching all these four other principles is a mindfulness, mindful movement. Pilates is one of the original movement practices. Essentially, what that means is the more that we approach a movement or an exercise with awareness and our full concentration, the more we get out of it, the more that it gets integrated into our brain and our movement patterns and how we use our bodies on a day-to-day basis. It also helps steady our emotional state and calm the mental chatter. If you're focused on a movement, everything else can fade away and you just are totally in the moment. And then the more that integrates into how you move, the better the rest of your movement is, without necessarily have to focus on it. Suddenly, over time, your posture improves, your movements are easier, the strength and balance around the joint is better, you move with flexibility and ease. So, to wrap it up, essentially, Pilates is a full body movement system that helps you get fit, healthy, pain-free and resilient, and it just is really one of the best things I've found in my life. I've personally been doing Pilates as a client since 1986. And as an instructor, one of the happiest moments I have is when somebody says to me, "Now, Eden, I was hanging out the clothes the other day on the line, and I heard your little voice saying, 'Stand up, pull your shoulders back.' And I started doing it, and I think, that's now when we know we're getting somewhere, because it's not my voice they're actually hearing, it's their own internal voice looking after them. And that ultimately is where we want everyone to get. So we tailor things so that you move along at your own pace, in your own time, to get the results that you want." Thanks for watching. If you want to make a comment or ask a question, you can do so down below, or you can go to our website, www.pilatescentral.com.au. We're on Facebook at Pilates Central. We're on Instagram at PilatesGC. Just get in contact. We'd love to hear from you, and have fun.